So far we discussed about primary key. Now let's start discussing about foreign key. So by using foreign key, you could enforce the referential integrity. That means you are going to insert some data into a table and you want to make sure that this data is already linked or saved somewhere. So if you look at the data, you could see we have continent ID. So if you look at the continent value, you could see we have continent value from 1 to 7. And we want to make sure that table, once you insert some data into the table country, continent ID is there. And we want to insert any value which is already there. That means 1 to 7 is allowed and we don't want to insert any random value. So we have continent ID 1 to 7 and 1 means it is Asia, 2 means Africa. So how will you restrict the table country? So if you go to the script and you could see there are some scripts with some random continent value. So if you try to insert this record, you could see the data is inserting and you could see the data. So if you select the statement, you could see at the end of the record, you could see we have some record, 3 record with continent ID as 70, 117 and 250. And this values not exist in our continent table. So we want to restrict our table country so that this table won't allow us to insert any random value. While inserting any record into the continent ID, it will make sure that that value is already exists in a table called table content. How will you ensure that? In such scenario, we could use foreign key. So if you go to the script, you could see we have foreign key. And the syntax is very simple. While defining the column, continent ID, specify this is a foreign key. And it should be reference which table, which column. So let's drop the table. So if you refresh the table country, you could see there are only one key is there. So, and this is a primary key. So let's drop the table and let's recreate with one column as primary key and one column as foreign key. And the table is recreated. And if you refresh and if you go to the key, now you could see we have one primary key is there and one foreign key is there. And if you insert the data, say for example, if you insert the record, you could see around 200 records are inserted. And all these records have valid continent ID. So we have continent ID 2 or 7. So if you look at the continent ID, distinct continent ID, you could see we have valid continent ID. And if you try to insert some invalid record, say if you try to insert a record with 250, you will get an error, referential integrity error or foreign key constraint validation. You can't insert a record with this value. This 70 should be already exist inside a table called table continent. And you could create a referential integrity or you could drop the referential integrity or foreign key by using alter table, table name, drop constraint and specify the constraint name. So in our case, it is PK table country or FK. So let's drag this one and let's execute. So the foreign key is dropped. Now if you try to insert this record, you will be able to insert because there is no foreign key constraint is there. And you could see now if you execute the select statement or if you execute the distinct value, you could see there are some random values also there, 17, 70, 250. So now you will be able to insert some random value. So let's, now if you want to add a constraint, foreign key constraint which is already there or a table is already there, you want to add a column as a foreign key constraint, you could use this integrity or this statement, alter table, table name, add constraint, and the constraint name. You specify constraint name and specify which table and which column. So inside our table country, you want to make, or you are going to make this column as referential integrity or foreign key, and it is referencing table constraint ID column. Now if you try to execute, you will get an error because already some random values are there, so you can't use. So make sure that you delete all the record. Or you could delete all the random value record. So I'm going to use where I want to delete only those 3 records that have the random value. Now if you try to insert the foreign key constraint, it will success. And if you refresh the table, you could see now we have a foreign key called FK table country. So this is how the foreign key is working, and by using foreign key you could make sure that your data is already exists in another table. That means you could make sure that referential integrity is exist. So that's all for this video. Thanks for watching.